If you have had an idea in your mind for writing a book for a year, 2 years, 3 years, the best time to finish that book is now, because you are going to have new ideas as you mature and grow and change. And also, when you finish that first book, that will be a catalyst for creating new ideas and new books. Hi, I'm Lorraine Haataia, the founder of Prolific Writer's Life and the author of Finish Your Book. I started Prolific Writer's Life because I was a writer looking for help with my writing. I've been writing for many years, but at the same time, I understand the value of working with fellow writers and the importance of writers being around fellow writers to finish their projects. So I also wrote the book Finish Your Book because I have been around writers. I've known writers for my whole life. I've been around authors and writers, and I know so many writers who have spent 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years and even more working on a book. And so I just had this feeling that we need a place for writers to go where they can have ongoing relationships and just share that writing journey with fellow writers. Yeah, I was a member of many writing communities, whether it was meeting writers at conferences, meeting people at book festivals, going to my local writers group, and everything was so disjointed. So what I really felt was needed was a place for writers to get together on a regular basis and see the continuation of their project over time. Yeah, I strongly believe that one of the most important things you need to know about your book is why you want to write your book, why you want to not only write it, but why you want to finish it. Who needs your book? When you know your why and who wants to see it, if it's nonfiction, maybe there's a reason, maybe there's something you're teaching people. And if it's a fiction book, maybe it relates to entertainment or a moral of the story or something that a character goes through and has a personal growth transformation. So when you know your why you want your book to be out in the world, why you want other people to get it in their hands, it's much easier to get through the hurdles. We all, as writers, face challenges along the way. Things slow us down. We have life continues. We always have life distractions and so forth. But what we need to do is keep that why in mind. Why do I want to finish this book? When I wrote Finish Your Book, I knew why I wanted to finish it. I wanted to finish it because I wanted to help the writers who were taking years to write their book when it really does not need to take that long. And so ask yourself, why is it important for me to share this book? In some cases, it might just be sharing your book with family. I know many authors who wrote memoir for family. And interestingly enough, I know one author who it became so popular. Not only did her family read it, they told their friends, and then next thing she knew, more and more people kept asking for it, and then she put it on Amazon, and then it became a very popular book. So even if you have one idea for your book, if you know why you want to get done, that can be an important driving force for helping you to overcome the obstacles and challenges that come your way in the process of finishing your book. And a lot of writers initially think that, oh, I'm just going to write a book. But in fact, writing is a giant part of getting a book out into the world. But the writing part is just the first major step. Because after you write it, ideally you have some beta readers or an editor. You do your own revision, but then you get feedback and professional revision on your book. And then it's time to go through publishing and promoting. So writing your book includes all of those steps, and that can be a very mysterious process. In many cases, writers aren't sure which direction should I go? Should I get a hybrid publisher? Should I try to publish this on my own? Does it make sense for me to try to get an agent? And as you're going through all of that process, you have questions along the way, and in many cases that can hold writers back, but it doesn't have to. When you're in a writing community with fellow writers and experts, you can get answers to all of those questions. And then when your book is even out in the world, the next step is to make sure that you're promoting your book. You're letting people know about your book, how to find it, why they should read it, what is it about. And so that's kind of the promotion side. So there's writing the book, publishing the book, promoting the book, These are all very important steps, and they can feel intimidating and like a labyrinth. Maybe you might have a local writing group, and there might be a few authors in there who've had a couple personal experiences, but I strongly recommend that you become part of maybe not one writing group, but maybe multiple, or a larger community like Prolific Writers Life, so that you can get that input from a variety of perspectives and then figure out what's best for you personally for your book. One of the things that holds back a lot of writers is they feel like they don't have anything unique to say, especially if you have a book that's in a particular genre where there are many other books similar to yours. You may feel like, well, what do I have different that say? This inner voice that sends negative messages to us. Well, somebody else wrote a book that's better than mine and it's similar to mine. And one of the things you have to realize is that you personally have a unique life experience. Nobody is ever going to be like you. No one's going to have the same fingerprints as you. You are a very unique person and have processed life in a different way than everybody else on the planet. You've had a different perspective. Even if you have a twin, I know many people who are twins, they have even identical twins, and they grow up thinking different things. They have different experiences. Maybe they're in different, even if they're growing up almost side by side in their childhood, things will be different. And so that's why your voice is important. And one of the things I always tell authors is your authenticity is attractive. That's the most attractive thing about you. In my book, Finish Your Book, I give a lot of different tips, but one of the tips I give is that it's really important to stay with your manuscript on a regular basis. I'm very visual. I like to actually see my manuscript. So after I finish a first draft, I get it printed up and spiral bound. And then when I'm ready for my whole second revision, what I do is I go through, or each revision, I go through and I mark it up in red. So I cross things out, and this is the way that I edit. One of the things that is really important, I believe, for writers is to keep your book fresh on your mind every day. Even if you're not writing 1,000 words or 500 words a day, keep your manuscript nearby. Keep your draft on your desk, or keep if you just do everything digitally, keep your digital file open on your laptop and glance at it each day, even if you just read a short paragraph, or even if you just think about one character and where they're going and where you want to take them. Keep your book fresh on your mind, because this is what allows your subconscious to work on it, to solve those plot issues you're having, or how you want to describe characters. If you're doing nonfiction, it might help you to think of stories and examples to add into the book. And I especially recommend doing this at night. So when you're laying in bed, I keep a little notebook by my bedside. And so again, I like to have paper. I do have my phone by my bedside as well, but I still will reach for the paper if I come up with an idea. I jot it down, and then the next morning I can come and put it into the book. So when you keep your book fresh on your mind, this allows you to, it's in your consciousness on a daily basis, and your subconscious will be working to solve these problems for you. One of the nurses in our community brought up our reticular activation system. And what this is if you say, I recently told myself, I'm going to look for white Jeeps. And all of a sudden I started seeing white Jeeps everywhere I went. Every day I would see a white Jeep if I was out driving. And our reticular activation system works like that as well. If you are looking to solve an issue with a character or a plot problem, and your subconscious knows it, you're going to find that answer. It's going to come up through conversation. Maybe somebody will say something that will trigger an idea. And then that's exactly the missing piece in my book, and you know where to put it in your book. But you have to keep it fresh on your mind, keep it in your heart on a regular basis. This year I was at an author talk, and I met another writer who was a doctor at this talk, and he had a book published as well, and he showed it to me, and we were talking about it, and I said, this is terrific. Do you have any other books that you want to write? And he said, oh yeah, I have lots of ideas. And then he proceeded to say, but I'll never write them. And I was a little bit puzzled, and I said, why not? And he said, it was the most awful, grueling, horrible experience of my life. I didn't like writing it. I didn't like editing it. I had problems with my computer, yada, yada, yada. But that means that his system was such that he hated his system so much that even though he has other good book ideas, he does not want to publish another book. And to me, that's very sad and tragic. So come participate in a writing community so you can figure out what it takes to get a writing system that you enjoy. You really should enjoy your writing system. Staying in your flow is really important. And this is just that consistency of coming back to your writing on a regular basis. It is perfectly normal. It is 100% normal for writers to get stuck along this process, whether that's in the writing process, in the editing process. Maybe you even go to a feedback session to get some feedback on your writing, and somebody says something that just hits you personally in the heart. You know, ideally, we do have to grow a little bit of a thick skin as writers to be prepared for that criticism, because even if your book is very well written, even if you had beta readers, even if you had a fantastic editor and your book goes out there, you could still get a negative review. So we have to prepare ourselves for our book just isn't right for certain people, and that's perfectly okay. It's really okay. Not everybody's going to love your book. And so it's important to stay in the flow, protect your ability to continue in the flow, not only through your writing system, but also in understanding that journey of writing the book. And if you do get stuck, this is where being part of a writing community can be so helpful, because you can voice it and say, you know, I woke up today to write, and all of a sudden I had this house maintenance issue, you know, that I had to deal with. And now you feel thrown off and frustrated. But if you get together with fellow writers, they understand, they've been there, and you just work through it and then pick up and keep writing later that day or the next day. So it's normal to have issues, but stay in community so that you can keep that flow going and keep making progress on your book. One of the things I always tell writers is to expect surprises. The phone might ring, and it might be an important phone call that you have to take. Somebody might knock at your door and you suddenly have to, you know, manage the person who's at your door. Anything can happen. And so as long as you have your own personal strategies as part of your writing system, have your own personal strategies to overcome, get back on track after you do have a distraction or an interruption, and get back into your writing. That is part of your writing system, is to expect distractions, expect surprises, expect things to happen. And when you expect it, you just say, okay, I was expecting to write from this time to this time today, but something came up. So let me see if I can shift this to another time today, or add a little more time tomorrow or something. But don't let that become frustrating to you, that surprises happen and things, that distractions and interruptions come up, because that's normal life. It just happens. And another thing you can do is, if it really derails you and makes you upset, think about how you can turn that emotion into something that you can write about in your book. So we all have different emotions on different days. So if you are feeling really upbeat and excited because something good just recently happened, go work on a section of your book that you want that upbeat, positive, emotional energy to appear in your book. If you just came out of frustration, maybe you drove to a coffee shop, but the traffic took much more time than you expected to get there, and you're frustrated because of the traffic. You couldn't find a parking spot. The line was long to get the coffee, all of that. And now suddenly when you thought you had an hour to write, now you only have 30 minutes. Instead of letting that ruin your 30 minutes that you do have left, channel that energy, that frustration into a section of your book where you have that tension, that that energy and that frustration, and it's like bottling it up and saying, okay, grab those words and those feelings that you're having now and put that into your book. So, as a writer, I like to say, no matter what happens in life, we always get a story. It might be a positive story or a negative story, but as writers, all of this can be channeled into our books. One of the things I talk about in Finish Your Book is I have a whole chapter. It's the longest chapter in the book, and it talks about different types of writing communities. So there's everything from book festivals to having an accountability partner, going to writing conferences, joining your state writing group, maybe meeting up with a few friends locally who are fellow writers. You can join a book club, which gives you a way to evaluate books. There are many, many ways you can cross paths and connect with people and literary type events. And I've been doing this my whole life. I mean, even in college, I was joining groups, signing up for writing contests and things like that. So when you do this, though, each of these things tends to be disjointed. There's the state writing group. There's this one book festival that's going on. There's this writers conference. There's this writing retreat. They're all separate, different people. Nobody knows anybody. So any one individual writer who walks through all of these different, writerly kinds of activities, it all becomes very disjointed and you become the hub and the focal point. But what I recommend is finding a writing community, not necessarily genre specific, but just a writing community filled with writers, one like Prolific Writers Life, where you can just come and talk about your writing life and talk about your current projects in process, talk about the latest book festival you went to, whether you had a booth at that or you just met some interesting authors there. When you have this opportunity to connect with a writing community, you can piece together all of these other things you're doing and help to make sense of it. And wow, you're bringing all of those ideas and all that fertile energy and fertile ground that helps seeds to blossom and grow. All the other writers in the community are doing the same. And so while you're sharing all this information and knowledge and updates and what's going on in the publishing industry and the writing industry and the apps and the tools that we have to work with, we all learn and grow, and all of that can tie into helping you have the resources and the answers and everything you need to finish your book, from writing to publishing and promoting. Being around fellow writers and authors and experts in the industry is one of the best things you can do to keep progressing through your project. In one of the last chapters in my book, the title of the chapter is Gather, Write, Share, Repeat. Gather, write, share, repeat. So gathering is when you gather with other fellow writers in any sort of way, with the ways that I just mentioned, through retreats, conferences, writing communities, local writing groups, and so forth. So gather, be around fellow writers. These are the people who understand the life you're living. They speak your language, they know your challenges, and they can help you solve them. They've been there, right? In many cases, they've been where you are and they know the challenge you're facing. So gather with fellow writers and authors and industry experts in a place like Prolific Writers Life. Write. This is make sure that you are actually getting your writing done. This means you have your writing system. You're working on your writing system. Writing means you're not just talking to other people in the community about what you plan to write. You're actually writing so that you can get to the next step, which is sharing what you wrote. So when you go to a feedback group or you want to get a beta reader, alpha reader on your book, you've got to have words on paper to share. So write them down and then share them. So there are many ways you can share what you write. You can share snippets on a blog. You can go to a feedback or critique group. I like to say feedback group, just like that word better than critique. But go to a feedback group. You can share certain chapters with friends, family, ideally people who like to read in your genre. And then sharing at the biggest level is actually publishing your book. And so you actually have to be ready to do that. But so that again comes back to the gathering. So the gathering is where you can get feedback, you can get beta readers, you can have accountability partners. So that's gathering with fellow writers to let them know, give them updates. This helps with accountability. Gather back with your writers. That's your home base. These are your people. These are the people who can help you achieve your goals. Then you go back to the writing stage, get their ideas, their feedback, any hurdles that have been bugging you in your writing system or whatever, then do the writing, then share it. And so this cycle can happen again and again through all the chapters as you're working on your book. And like I said, you can also have blogs or whatnot, blog articles. You can have other ways. You can share poetry out on social media. You might have little small ways to tease people with what's coming for your book, but sharing, let people know what's coming. Some authors even go to the extreme of having a pre-launch. So they let people know my book is coming out, but that's sharing. That's letting them know, hey, my book is about ready to come out. Please buy it in advance. So gather with other writers, do the writing, and then do the sharing, which is, like I said, ultimately the publishing. And share is also about promoting, sharing what you've written, sharing what you've published. Gather, write, share, repeat. Gather, write, share, repeat. If you can master that cycle, you can master getting your book done. Do you have a book in you that you have been thinking about and working on for longer than you would like, and you would like to get that book done? Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to get a book done and it was just taking a long time? If so, I recommend that you take a look at Finish Your Book. Read this book and you will get the tips and tools you need to finish your book. Also, if you want to finish your book, I highly recommend that you find ways to be around fellow writers. Get into a community like Prolific Writers Life. Look for your local writing groups. Show up at your local book festivals. Show up at writing conferences and retreats whenever you can and whatever your budget allows. But with Prolific Writers Life, we're virtual. So no matter where you live, you can join us online. So if you really want to finish that book, I recommend checking out Prolific Writers Life. Come join us, be around fellow writers, authors, experts in the industry. Surround yourself with all of that good knowledge and wisdom, and you will have what you need to finish your book. I can't wait to share the writing journey with you. I look forward to seeing you very soon.